The House of Pride opened its gates and welcomed us as honorary champions. They say it's simple hospitality, but I suspect we have you to thank. Now is the difficult part. We can hold Cluricon, even push a little into Alabastra, but we don't have the forces to mount a siege on Gadflow. Once the House of Pride gives their word, they'll never break it. At least, not what it looks like we're winning. Our real problem is that we can't march the army through Alabastra. Not in formation, at least. This will call for smaller groups. Alabastra is a maze of valleys. Gadflow's remaining faithful would spot an army moving together, and the valleys would be the death of us. But where an army would fail, the 5 of us can triumph. If we split up, we can travel faster and catch them unaware. We will at the House of Vengeance, on Gadflow's doorstep. From there, we strike at Bhaile, the heart of his empire. I'm sure you know more about it than I do. After all, you were here last. That's where we'll find Gadflow, and where we'll put an end to this whole war. I hope you're ready. This time. Ventrinio says he has a way to defeat Dren. However he got into Alabastra before, we'll have to use it to put an end to Dren's defenses once and for all. Now that you've driven off the Tuatha, those House of Pride fools don't even want to acknowledge they ever served Gadflow. Disgusting little turncoats, but useful ones to have on our side, as long as we keep an eye on them. More than you'd think. But I promise I'll explain it all to you. Maybe once Gadflow's dead. I'll see you in Alabastra.
Hope you've got better luck this time, eh? Hope you've got better luck this time, eh?
With horror's screams and ghostly face, we leave blood in a graven place. The forest black and nighttime sky, the blood that pours forth from your eye. A feast for maggots, craven all, that eat the dying when they fall. Instead of vibrant fighting flesh that fights the barghest and the thresh, that knows the plight of Seelie Fae, you who walked the Niralin's way, and reckon fates of mortal dust, and keep an oath or break a trust. We hunger for your corpse once more, to hear your cries and anguished roar.
Agarth wanted me to keep an eye on Lady Shear, but you and I need to have a talk first. I've been reviewing my notes of our last trip to Alabastra, and I've come to some startling conclusions about your death and Tirnoch. I don't know exactly, but it must have been a tremendously powerful source of magic. So powerful that the Well of Souls couldn't help but pick up on it. You were attuned to the well in my lab, but Hugh's well captured your essence. The power in Bhaile seems to have been the missing element. What's more, I think that power is the source of the prismere crystals. Something intelligent and malignant. The creature the Tuatha called Tirnoch. Something incredibly powerful. I don't know if we even have a name for what she is, because no one's lived to name it. She's not a god. She's something much, much worse. And judging by the growth of this prismere, she's very close to coming into our world for good. Whatever Gadflow's been doing, it's all in order to bring her here. So you've got to stop him before it's too late. When you and I came to Alabastra, we were looking for the source of the prismere's power. I never found it, but I think you did, and that's why you died. The frosted gem at the center of Alabastra, full of prismere, but now it's a lot more full of enemies than it was when we snuck in there. Gone, gutted, and good riddance to them. That'll teach them to stand on the wrong side of a war. You did kill them all, right? Tirnoch isn't a god. No god has ever commanded that much magic directly. Whatever she is, she must be amazingly powerful. I can see why Gadflow would worship her. Imagine controlling that much raw magic. With tremendous difficulty. Even so, there weren't as many Tuatha here, and we used magic to keep us hidden. Magic which you provided, in fact. You never did explain where you got those fascinating little artifacts.
And he named it prismere. It grows far beneath the Anathem. It pierces the world, and the blood that flows from these wounds feeds Gadflow's hungry mind. These crystals, this prismere, whispered to him promises of power, of godhood. It corrupted his nature. The seeds of a blizzard sprouted in the form of a beautiful crystal. It was a gift from her, ere we knew our doom was at hand. skulls atop high fulgen shine, and coldly gleam in a precise line. For us who chew on hollowed bones, while alive we wail vapid moans. It's delight for us to feed, to feast, we the winter of the East. We the corpses in putrid bloom, we of decay and twilight gloom, will never open our hunger till spilled blood is on our plate. So come into our lands at night and see an endless wintry sight. In the heart, and perfectly you play the part of hero to the summer's west, bringing Tuatha to their rest. Why do you try so hard in vain? Why bring others? The body will you not and feed the body? Or walk again past corpses new, without care for the rotting few. The House of Vengeance enacted the whims of our mad king. The divided court became Gadflow's Tuatha by force or by rebirth. The Winter Fae dwindled before this wave of frenzied strife, and before long, they were soldiers in an immortal army, or they were outcast. The greatest of vengeance, Malwyn, Claran, Vescain among them, became his witch knights. War had come again to the Fae, but instead of by Lord Own, it was Gadflow the king without a winter. Stranger in our land, bringing death with the fate's own hand, filling the graves with corpses new, that feed the vultures, mortals do. Yes, they'll eat the flesh of the dead, and tear the limbs off, and the head. They only need the slightest lie to give them reason as to why. Their minds should be free from all guilt, and that is how your morals wilt. Continue, stranger, in our home, where demons tread and evils roam.
Come on!
For you are now a part of woe, blight, dusk, ruin, and living foe. But Gadflow was not content to rule the Court of Winter. Mortals would bow before him as well. And so he made war on your people and drove them from the eastern lands. The Alfar fell before an avalanche. Who either acted as an army, or built the attractions as new items of their false gods. If you were here, then you were sold to the putrid land. Your lost body will burn, a crumbled ash. There is no hope. Wielding hammer, sword, or knife will not save you. You are the waste of a contempt's malicious taste. And what awaits your untuned mind is what you hope you'll never find. The vilest, darkest, blackest thing. The conscience of a reigning king. With horror's screams and ghostly face, we leave blood in a graven place. The forest black and nighttime sky, the blood that pours forth from your eye. A feast for maggots, craven all, that eat the dying when they fall. Instead of vibrant fighting flesh that fights the barghest and the thresh, that knows the plight of Seelie Fae, you who walked the Niralim's way, and reckon fates of mortal dust, and keep an oath or break a trust. We hunger for your corpse once more, to hear your cries and anguished roar. The skulls atop high fulgen shine, and coldly gleam in a precise line. For us who chew on hollowed bones, while alive we wail vapid moans. It's delight for us to feed, to feast, we the winter of the East. We the corpses in putrid bloom, we of decay and twilight gloom, will never halt our hungered wait, till spilled blood is on our plate. So come into our lands at night, and see an endless wintry sight. The anger festers in the heart, and perfectly you play the part of hero to the summer's west, bringing Tuatha to their rest. Why do you try so hard in vain? Why bring the others senseless pain? Don't you see, mortal, don't you see the body impaled on the tree? Will you not witness their loss, and feed upon the awful dross, or walk again past corpses new, without care for the rotting few? O gloried stranger in our land, bringing death with the fate's own hand, filling the graves with corpses new, that feed the vultures, mortals too. Yes, they'll eat the flesh of the dead, and tear the limbs off, and the head. They only need the slightest lie to give them reason as to why their minds should be free from all guilt, and that is how your morals wilt. Continue, stranger, in our home, where demons tread and evils roam. For you are now a part of woe, blight, dusk, ruin, and living foe. If you are here, then you are sold to the putrid lands of the old. Your lost body will burn, to crumbled ash will your bones turn. There is no hope left for your life. Wielding hammer, sword, or knife will not save you. You are the waste of a contempt's malicious taste. And what awaits your untuned mind is what you hope you'll never find. The vilest, darkest, blackest thing, the conscience of a reigning king.
So, you come to die.
Agarth will not be far behind you. Neither of us saw any sign of Alyn Shear or Ventrinium. A scout on the ridge above saw the Tuatha mounting for a counterattack. You should hear what he has to say before we move on. If you'd rather not wait, talk with Agarth. Time is of the essence. The Pale Country, once the peaceful home to the Winter Court. Now Gadflow squats in her heart like a rot in the flesh. My homeland will not suffer this indignity. Together, we must extract the Tuatha, even if it means the end of my people. Bale, the icy heart of my people, with bridges of woven stone and ice. It sickens me to think of what Gadflow's people have done to it. Before Gadflow's rise, he was a battered whelp of a Fae. Now, his suffering has only added to his power. I hear he keeps a stable of trolls, but I can't be sure if they're his pets or his lovers. Dren is the defender of the House of Pride. He may help the Tuatha, but he doesn't serve them. Legend says it was where the first alliance between enemies was formed. And we Fae do so love to repeat legends, don't we? House of Pride, our shining beacon. Now its light is dim and faltering, but it still stands against the darkness, as it always has. Agar, if he tells you he's ready, then my people are as well. Of course, if you wish to proceed with caution, the scout on the ridge will know what we're up against. Careful. This is worse than I feared.
You foolish mortals, listen well to advice in this tale. Of atrocities that we will tell. Horror awaits the fools who fell, and languish behind arcane veil.
There you are. Good to see you here. Ready? You should have seen Alabastra at its prime. Serene and beautiful as a sky full of stars. Vale was the seat of the Winter Court. Every bit as cold as Issa is warm. But they're both beautiful in their own ways. The Cur's the closest thing vengeance has to a leader anymore. A Fae so consumed with hatred that he's little more than a beast. If you're going to get into Bale, the Cur has to die. Doesn't look like there was much of the House of Pride left to save. And I can't imagine they were happy about a mortal doing the saving, either. Beautiful city, isn't it? You can see why they don't like letting most mortals in. Even the best of us make it look like a mess by comparison. Keep your wits about you.
sun is to the forest, Tirnoch is to the Fae of winter. Some embraced this new god, this break from the great cycle. Others hid in the darkest of places. Gadflow spoke of Tirnoch, and the prismere emanated its power. It is the source of magic and hatred. It no longer slumbers beneath Amalur. The unbroken horizon of the winter is the fiery hate of destruction. Of old they sung, but now a god proclaimed enchanting song. They worship on their earthen sod, and bow their heads and pray and nod. Another name to bear their wrong.
Hey, you're the hero of Melsenshir. I've heard all about you. Private Eyeless Uva at your service. Don't have much for supplies, but you're welcome to them. We've survived 2 night raids, but we lost our healer and our weaponsmith in the confusion. And don't even mention the mercenaries. I'm skilled with a bow, but not enough to defeat an entire band of Tuatha, and there aren't many others who can fight. I like where I am and what I do, and I have no interest in changing. Made the mistake of changing things once, but one can always change things back. Huh.
Let us tempt.
Good to see you here. Ready? I am. But there hasn't been any sign of Alyn Shear or Ventrinio. Damn it all, I knew we couldn't trust her. I sent Ventrinio to keep an eye on her. He was sending me messages until recently. But there were fewer and fewer as we've gotten closer to Bhaile. We need to get through the House of Vengeance and kill the Cur. And we'll have to do it without them. He's the closest thing Vengeance has to a leader anymore. A face so consumed with hatred that he's little more than a beast. If you're going to get into Bhaile, the Cur has to die. No, whatever Gadflow is doing in there, it's growing with every wasted minute. Even if Alyn didn't betray us, we don't have time to wait. Listen, you're more powerful than I ever was. If anyone can stop this, it's you. When you kill Cur, go into Bhaile and stop Gadflow. If we get separated, we'll keep fighting to keep an escape route open for you. Now go. Stay on guard. Looks like this is it. Onwards! We're nearly there. Looks like this is it. Victory! That was amazing. You're twice the hero I ever was, or could have been. Our forces can't keep going from here. We're stretched too thin, and we've lost too much. Sidon and I will hold the gate for you as long as we can. But Bhaile is nearly deserted. Head in, face Gadflow, end this. Good plan. I promise not to die if you don't. Just make sure you put a stop to Gadflow. Do that, and I predict our future involves sharing drinks and war stories around a cozy fire. Trust me, I'm a fate weaver.
My deepest apologies for not being able to join the battle. Ventrinia was something of a hassle. Waiting for you, of course, and cleaning up. Ventrinio attacked me. If it's any comfort, he didn't suffer. The closer we got to Bhaile, the more obsessed he became with Tirnoch, and with harnessing Tirnoch's power, just like Gadflow did. That's why he had to be stopped, and why we need to talk about our mission. Betrayed you? Never! You forgot the mission when you died. We're running out of time. I'll explain as we go. Lead on. I'm right behind you.
The winter court was still as fallen snow as the jester danced and capered. Juggling knives and torches, he sang to his lords and ladies, but none smiled. Not an eyebrow raised as the sniveling jester imitated the king.
Fighting at your
Not
side,
even when he
just like
took
the old
the
days,
days
before you
because
died.
this was the day Gadflow murdered the winter court. This was the day the Tuatha were born, and our people became a sacrifice for Tirnoch.
You and I carry on a duty that has been fulfilled for centuries. The ancient
Since the
beast
Alabastra
must stay
war
sealed
was
away
young,
at any
the beautiful
cost.
bone-white
The
forest
world
was a
must never
place of
realize the
peace and
terrible
meditation.
power Tirnoch
No
offers.
piercing bird song nor heated word could find its way between the branches. Quiet thought prevailed until Gadflow shattered our land. The Tuatha's crimson axes chopped the forest for arrow shafts, and Tirnoch's prismere spires rose up to consume what remained. Now our forest is shattered, and screams of warfare fill its boughs.
When Gadflow's army arose, we recognized Tirnoch's tainted influence. Only a force like her could warp eternal creatures like the Fae. So you came to infiltrate Alabastra, find Tirnoch, and seal her away forever. And you used Ventrinio to get in, under the guise of being his assistant. This is your end. If you couldn't stop Tirnoch, you
The
had to
greatest
try.
heroes of winter have
Even though
always
the
fallen
Fate
from the
Weavers
Vale's
said you were
pale boughs.
doomed.
From
As
Pietra the
always,
Keen to
the
Hulgan
Fate
the
Weavers
Hungry.
were right.
When the Tuatha claimed dominance over us, heroes arose to defend winter. Gadflow laughed at their challenge and called up Tirnoch's wrath. In a second, our most loyal heroes were impaled by prismere spires. Our heroes were gone, never to be reborn, and our people succumbed to Gadflow's madness.
No more delays. When I found you in Dalentarth, when I saw you had come back to life, I wasn't sure how much you remembered. I couldn't be certain you would keep our secrets. I considered killing you then and there. Nothing personal. You would have done the same to me. But then I saw what you did. I saw the new powers you wielded. And I saw how useful you were. When I saw you could change fate, I knew you were only
And so, instead of an arcane age, Gadflow would have an endless winter. Not the winter of the Fae, but of Tirnoch's making. Gadflow has seen the visions of annihilation, of a blissful void across the world. It is not the will of Own, but against nature. The ageless decay of our people has become a weapon against yours. You, the Deathbringer and Siegebreaker, the usurper of fate and twice born, must become the Godslayer. It was a time of change. The cycles of the seasons turned as ever, but inside the bones of the earth, there lurked a cold. It was not the cold of winter. Beside the houses of sorrows, pride and vengeance, a new turmoil fomented, a magic hitherto unseen. The jester of the King of Winter, the fool who made a mockery of life, of everything, languished in a discontent. He heard the whisperings of power, felt its pulse. He saw visions of an endless winter, of a totality of nothingness. He was Gadflow, and he would follow the cycle no longer. The High King Mathon ruled the bleak, silent fields of Wintertide. He kept the season as it should be. The blizzards howling, the skies filled with snow in the gloom of a long night. He purified the land under a white blanket and allowed death to end the slow decay of autumn. The woods paid homage in leaves. The waters paused at his arrival. The world revered him in a barren stillness. Until one night, when nature changed its course, and Gadflow, like an errant thread frayed from the weave, took the crown from Mathon's head. "A joke," he said, "a joke." And the court swayed in laughter, for Gadflow's was often like the mockingbird, with many calls, but none of his own. He placed the crown upon his head, and smiling, took a crimson sword. He betrayed the Fae with a swing of his newfound freedom. And he was not alone. Like the weave unraveling, the Tuatha now tainted the purity of Mathon's court. These new immortals, the Tuatha Daon, were no longer the solemn Fae of the East. Their essences twisted into a ravenous host, unsettled, unnatured. From the nothing of winter came Gadflow's malice. And he named it prismere. It grows far beneath the Amethyst. It pierces the world, and the blood that flows from these wounds feeds Gadflow's hungry mind. These crystals, this prismere, whispered to him promises of power, of godhood. It corrupted his nature. The seeds of a blizzard sprouted in the form of a beautiful crystal. It was a gift from her, ere we knew our doom was at hand. The House of Vengeance enacted the whims of our mad king. The divided court became Gadflow's Tuatha by force or by rebirth. The Winter Fae dwindled before this wave of frenzied strife, and before long, they were soldiers in an immortal army, or they were outcast. The greatest of vengeance, Malwyn, Claran, Vescain among them, became his witch knights. War had come again to the Fae, but instead of by Lord Own, it was Gadflow the king without a winter. But Gadflow was not content to rule the court of winter. Mortals would bow before him as well, and so he made war on your people and drove them from the eastern lands. The Alfar fell before an avalanche of corrupted fervor. the Tuatha acted as one army and built the prismere chantries as new idols of their false mountain god, their Tirnoch. As the sun is to the forest, Tirnoch is to the Fae of winter. Some embraced this new god, this break from the great cycle. Others hid in the darkest of places. Gadflow spoke of Tirnoch, and the prismere emanated its power. It is a source of magic and hatred. It no longer slumbers beneath Amethen. The unbroken horizon of the winter is now the fiery haze of destruction. And so, instead of an arcane age, Gadflow would have an endless winter. Not the winter of the Fae, but of Tirnoch's making. Gadflow has seen the visions of annihilation, of a blissful void across the world. It is not the will of Own, but against nature. The ageless decay of our people has become a weapon against yours. You, the Deathbringer and Siegebreaker, the usurper of fate and twice born, must become the Godslayer.
In happier times, the Winter Court would come here to bathe in the colours of the midnight gardens. Night violets and pale moonflowers blossomed on a field of bluest grass studded with frost. When stars aligned, the aurora borealis danced for the queen herself. But now the Tuatha have crushed the gardens and planted only corpses. The fruit of their tortured garden is only blood red.
Last time you came here, you were destined to die. This time?
At long last, Gadflow has crushed the Winter Fae, and his Tuatha rules us utterly. No longer are we reborn into this world, unless his god Tirnoch wills it so. This monster has crushed us, and our kind shall pass from this world. But our memories might yet last. When Gadflow is gone, and his god is left for another people to ravage, I may be freed from my tomb, and then I may share what dreams we made. It is the only immortality any of us may hope for now.
Now we have a chance to finally complete our mission. Let's put an end to it. Before this party frees Tirnoch on the world. This must have been a lot for you to take in at once. But I need you to be clear on who you are and what you need to do. A lot has changed since you were here last. It isn't going to be as easy this time. And last time it killed you. Oh, she's a creature with incredible power. A dragon. But she is no simple lizard in some child's tale. She has a power rivaled only by the gods. Thousands of years ago, the ancient Alpha sealed her in the Amethyst between this world and the world of magic. And there she went mad. As her prison weakened over time, she was able to tempt Gadflow into helping her gain enough power to break free. And if she escapes fully, it will mean the end of all mortal life. Tirnoch's revenge for tens of thousands of years of imprisonment. That's why people like you and I have dedicated our lives to keeping Tirnoch secret from the world. We were supposed to keep Tirnoch hidden from the world. Anyone who learned too much had to die. But when Gadflow found her, you were the one who volunteered to kill him and seal Tirnoch away once more, even though you were fated to fail. It took every trick we had to get you here the first time, and you still died. I don't know if you plan to be resurrected, but knowing you, I wouldn't be surprised. Everyone who knows the truth of Tirnoch will be dead, and Tirnoch will be sealed away once again. We can return to our duty of keeping the knowledge secret. Assuming that's the life you want to return to, but if you refuse, then I'd have to make sure you never tell the truth about Tirnoch. Of course, I'd rather it didn't come to that. But you would have done the same. Huh. I have more important things to do than love. And so do you. But I do trust you with the fate of my world. It may not set your heart aflutter to hear it, but it'll have to do. Lead on. I'm right behind you.
You don't understand, do you? The power of Tirnoch.
Yes! Return!
To your grave!
This is your end.
Lend me your power!
An illusion. If Gadflow isn't here, then he must be hiding further underground, someplace closer to the source of the prismere. Definitely. The war's not over yet. Whatever bargain Gadflow made with Tirnoch, it's about to pay off. When that happens, the world will not be spared her wrath. I used to be the closest thing you had to a friend. Now I'm just the ghost that'll see you through your last duties to save this world. In the heart of Alabastra is the former unseelie city of Bhaile. Beneath the Winter King's court, there is the cave of Amalur. It's a place of tremendous power. It is where Tirnoch is imprisoned, and where you died. Somehow Gadflow found a way to reach out to Tirnoch. Or perhaps she was able to seek out his twisted mind. She offered him power, and with it, he began the Tuatha. No wonder Gadflow thinks she's a god. We were two of the people who were supposed to keep Tirnoch hidden from the world. Anyone who learned too much had to die. But when Gadflow found her, you were the one who volunteered to kill him and seal Tirnoch away once more, even though you were fated to fail. It took every trick we had to get you here the first time, and you still died. I don't know if you plan to be resurrected, but knowing you, I wouldn't be surprised. Then Trinia was right. Tirnoch is no god. She has almost as much power, and is every bit as dangerous to the world as any dock god. Her powers raised Gadflow from a jester to a warlord, and in return, his army would usher in a chance for her to enter this world and consume it. This way. Tirnoch is held captive deep in the Amalur, but her prison is weakening by the moment.
What can I interest you with today, my liege? I've just received a delivery of wonderful gear from a crew of slavers, shippers. So long! Care to haggle? I'm at your command. Just don't ask me to do anything I don't feel like doing. Bye-bye.
Captain of the watch, corrupt.
So much to choose of magic, masters of spells.
Good day. Good day. If you... Remember, everyone be sure to do the reading.
Greetings, Archsage.
I've been providing goods to... to the Order for over a decade. What's your... I'll be around if you need me.
Hello? Praise Lyria! I thought you'd never arrive. Welcome to Camp Moondown. Are you with Captain Ancilla's company? It took more deaths than I wished to admit to secure the pass between Chloricon and Alabastra. Now that it belongs to the Alfar, we intend to hold it. Moondown is the best position in the valley. If it falls, we fall with it. The war is not what I expected. I missed the Battle of Melsenshir. Only action I've seen until now has been escorting healers and weaponsmiths. I'm no warrior. I'm an Alfar noble turned bodyguard. Even more self-absorbed than a knave of pride over there. Ancilla was ordered to bring his men to reinforce Moondown, but he hasn't come. It's refreshing to find a person who loves what they do so much. I heard he was promoted once, but then found a way to get demoted. Anyhow, Ilva's a good man, and merchant too. Feel free to ask him if you need to buy something. Anella Saf is one of ours, though she doesn't act like it. Her work makes up for her personality.